Games, Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life here with another episode of The Nasties. We are looking at the 1981 horror movie, Madhouse. This movie was successfully prosecuted, somehow.
Crazy.
Rewatching it, as always, we're like, okay, let's try and spot the obvious points where it might have fallen foul. Details of what it fell foul of are actually limited. So it was called There Was a Little Girl, renamed Madhouse for the video market. Released 4 times in video, with watered down, cut and edited version being released on VHS in America by Virgin Label. Then it was discontinued. Released again 5 years later in 1989. Obviously the graphic content is what got it fell foul of the BBFC. And it never actually saw a theatrical release in the United Kingdom. Fair enough, it's a video nasty, why would it?
Yeah.
But in 2004, the film was passed uncut by the BBFC and released uncut on DVD by Film 2000, and then released by Dark Sky Films in 2008. We have it here. There it is. Blu-ray copy. As always, completely uncut these days. Comes with, you can get a Blu-ray DVD combination, basically, with lots of director-approved special editions. Director-approved. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. Oh, glad he approves.
Yeah.
Brand new 2K restoration from the original camera negative, high definition Blu-ray 1080p and standard definition DVD presentations, stereo 2.0 with 5.1 DTS HD MA audio options, optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, brand new audio commentary by Hysteria Continues, Run in a Madhouse, a brand new interview with actress Edith Ivy, Framing Fear, a brand new interview with cinematographer Roberto Diettatore Pizzalio, Video Nasty, a brand new interview with producer-director of Video Astononius, alternative opening titles, original theatrical trailer, and of course, as always, reversible sleeve, featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Mark Schoenbach.
See if that makes more sense.
So the original?
No, I think I'll throw the ones in front. I don't think that.
Because that's
quite a good thing.
Yeah, that's the person.
But I think the name change is annoying. I think There Was a Little Girl makes more sense than
Madhouse makes no sense.
It's not like it's.
It implies that something related to the house, and the house is actually just there. It's just there for a location. Only that. There's no real Madhouse stuff to it.
Yeah.
Okay, it stars Trish Everly as Julia Sullivan, Michael McRae as Sam Edwards, who is Julia's partner in it, boyfriend.
Yeah.
Dennis Robertson as Father James. We're gonna get to him because he is that chef's kisses standout thing to watch this movie for is Dennis Robertson. Morgan Hart as Helen. Alison Biggers as Mary Sullivan, which is Julia's sister. Edith Ivy as Amanthea Beauregard, who's basically the landlord and Earthchild. Richard Baker as Sassy Robertson Jr., Don Devereaux as the principal, and Jerry Fujikawa as Mr. Kimuri.
Yeah.
That's basically, it's quite a small cast. The dog actor isn't listed, unfortunately.
Oh, he's a lovely dog.
And what kind of dog is that? Staffy?
Rottweiler.
Of course it is. So, right, let's say why we think this fell foul more than anything else. And I think it comes down to 2 scenes, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So 2. The movie opens with a very drawn-out long shot of a very dark, very well done, really dark room. It's almost pitch black.
Yeah, just them illuminated, isn't it?
And we go from very far away, getting closer and closer to Wilder's song, "Rocked by Baby."
Rockabye Baby.
Yeah, it's sung very softly and ethereal kind of way. It zooms in. We then see it's 2 young girls, maybe 10 to 12 years old. One is being rocked in a chair by the other. And she grabs a rock from somewhere and starts smashing her sister, because they're obviously twin sisters, in the face. Yeah. This is where we think one thing may have come.
It's quite prolonged, isn't it?
But yeah, because it's not just, she grabs the rock and then smashing it in her face. And it's about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. It is clearly a dummy.
Oh, it's clearly a dummy, but it is gory.
But it is gory, yeah. And I think it's obviously like the intent and the idea behind it.
Child on child, yeah.
Child on child with a brick, and it's not just you see a brick go towards the face and cut away. It is prolonged. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one. Later, you get a brief shot of a cat being hung. That might have been it, but it's so fleeting. It's like, it's almost a 1 second cut.
Yeah.
It flies down and that's it. That might have been it, but I don't think it was. No. Because that's not really, it's not like animal cruelty in the same way as other things are.
Yeah.
Where I'm almost certain it got in trouble was the Rottweiler dog getting drilled in the head.
Yeah.
And that's prolonged.
Yeah.
That's a good 10, 15 seconds long.
It's a good use for puppet as well because it
Really
is,
well done.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really actually looked like a dog.
So those are two. Around that, I actually don't think there's very much. In fact, remove those scenes. So let's say we did it this way. We talked about when we were watching it, cutting the opening scene where all you see is the rock go up and swung, and that's cut there. You have you get everything that's done from that without it needing to be violent. You cut the dog thing from the other side.
Yeah.
During that scene, it does cut to the back of the dog.
Yeah.
You can hear the drill, intent, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
I reckon this might not even be a 15. Because there's no sex, there's no nudity.
No. I'd say 15 because there's the birthday party scene.
True. Okay,
That's
fair
quite,
point.
that's
Yeah.
quite horrific.
Yeah.
So.
So this movie overall is very, very boring, very by the numbers for 2/3 of its run.
Yeah.
And you just be like, oh, it's all right. Seen a lot of this stuff before, another horror. And then its last 20 minutes, it just goes, ha, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
And it is 10 times better because of it. I will always remember this purely for its final 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before then, we were introduced to Julia, who, as we said, is played by Trish Everly. She's a school teacher for deaf children, basically. Seems like a very likeable woman.
Cares a lot.
Yeah. She has a good relationship with one particular boy. He sends her notes and all that. Not those kind of notes where he's like, I love you and stuff like that.
That's what we thought. Is it not inappropriate?
Yeah, it's
She's
not
quite
that.
Pretty. She's quite pretty, so I thought that's where they were going to go with it. But no. It was just generally teacher and child relationship, yeah.
Yeah. And she basically is called to visit her twin sister Mary, who she's estranged from. They haven't talked in years because Julia recalls abuse from her sister as a young age. We're never told or shown if this is true, or if this is real, or those things ever really happened. Yeah. We don't actually get enough development between the two sisters of their young childhood, which is a real problem for later parts of the movie. But basically, feeling guilty or whatever, and urged by her uncle, which is James, the Catholic priest, as we said, played by Dennis Robertson. He urges her, look, come visit your sister. She's in hospital. She's not well. She goes to visit Mary, and Mary basically is suffering from a skin disease, which is made her look a bit deformed. Yeah. I suspected that it was a
necrofasciitis.
Yeah, from what it looks like on her face. It's not the best makeup or effects.
No, I would have thought they'd gone bit more with it, a bit more extreme.
They did this purely to get away with why she doesn't look like a twin anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's kind of a plot point brief at the end as well. But it works in conjunction with that. It deformed her face kind of thing. It would deform it that much. So Julia visits her. We get, it's one of the things about this movie is how well shot it is. The angles it chooses to use. And here's a great example of it is we witness this from the other side of a curtain with just a gap in between. Yeah. And Julia's sitting in that gap. So we don't see Mary.
No.
She's got her hands in gloves. We see these gloves. And it's important that we see those gloves because those gloves are the prominent thing we see throughout the movie. Yeah. And she grabs her and she starts saying about how... I
want to come...
come get you on your birthday. You're going to suffer like I did and stuff like that. It's not a good reunion. Julia runs off, and then Mary kind of comes into shot into the gap. Yeah. Still dark, so don't get a great view, but we can kind of see some skin lesions and stuff like that. But obviously she's insane. That much is made clear. She's crazy. Whether the disease has done that or stuff we just don't know.
Yeah,
we needed more.
Yeah, we're not told.
But the best I could work with is, okay, the skin disease has probably driven her a little bit mad.
Yeah.
She runs out of Uncle James. You know, she cries in his arms and stuff like that. We instantly suspected Uncle James wasn't quite all right. He is very handsy at first on, which is weird. But also, it's just his demeanour. He has a sort of creepy intent about him. We would be proved to be right, but he has a sort of intent about him. Summed up brilliantly in a church scene where Julia's at the church and he's doing one of his sermons quite intently and aiming at her, where he's talking about blood being thicker than water. And he'll say things like sister, and he'll go, oh, but and brother as well. But you know, you're talking about sisters. We then see it quickly happily shows us that Mary escapes from hospital, her fourth escape this time. Security is the worst. She literally just walks out. Outside, the security guard follows, I guess, or like hears a noise, does his rounds. He goes outside and is killed by the Rottweiler, a Rottweiler. One of the important points about this Rottweiler, why this exists, is this is something from their childhood, apparently, where Julia always had a Rottweiler that she trained and would use to abuse her sister as well. Obviously, you kind of like, is this the same Rottweiler? It couldn't be, because, you know, age-wise and stuff like that. And this Rottweiler is clearly trained as well. It kills the security guard. Every scene involving the Rottweiler is done really, really well.
Yeah.
It's hidden well when we're dealing with a trainer, padded arms, and how the dog behaves. And when we're doing close-up shots of it ripping out throats, it's a really well-done puppet.
Yeah. Yeah, when it's kind of cut back away, you kind of look and go, okay, that dog's
just playing around and stuff like that.
Licking some sort of like peanut butter or some sort of treat.
Or just told to go for the arm where it's padded,
Yeah. Oh, I did like the dog though.
But yeah, it's the main villain, so to speak, of majority of the movies. It kills almost everyone. It always seems to be at the hands of the dogs. It's the student, Sasha, the one that Julia has the biggest relationship that really, I guess, could argue is the darkest tone. But we don't see anything. And he's gone to the park and he's playing frisbee with another dog. The other dog runs off after running into the Rottweiler. Sasha goes to look and then finds the Rottweiler with its paw on the thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. We cut away to the body being loaded in the ambulance. And Julie getting upset about that, really, basically. It was right to do it that way. The intent's there.
Yeah.
We get perfectly enough of it.
We get the idea of it, yeah.
So it's made very clear as well that Mary has basically got to Julia's house. She's inside. We often get a lot of POV shots from Mary watching Julia from outside when she's in the car with Sam. Their relationship is well defined throughout the movie. Probably the strongest relationship is between Julia and Sam. We get a lot of good story between them and a lot of good explanation as to why he's not around at certain points. He's a medical doctor. He does obviously on-call shifts.
Speech. He goes presents.
Major part of the finale and part is him going to San Francisco for a presentation. So his reason why he's not around for Julia's birthday.
And certain things it sets up. So I say like when he couldn't stay with her overnight because he's got to work.
Yep.
He sends a friend to look after her. You know, like it's nice little things like that rather than going, oh, I can't stay around, you're upset, but never mind, you'll be alright. I'll send someone to make sure you're alright kind of thing, which is nice, believable.
Yeah, because basically Julia starts to believe Mary's after her, particularly after Sasha gets killed. We do get another death, which is the handyman.
Oh yeah.
Which is Mr. Kimura, who basically there's an early fake out scare where she's in her basement when he shouldn't be. He's alright, he's fine, he's funny, kind of like to the point of like playing a stereotype, very much a stereotype. But he gets killed by Mary, and we see Mary kill him. She kind of like rushes at him like an avenging angel, screaming, and stabs him in the chest. So it makes it perfectly clear very early on. Here's Mary, she's the killer, and she's now killed him. We never see him again until the end. There's no like follow up to that. Probably the most important death comes with what you said, which is the friend, which is what's her name? Where is it? Helen. So Helen, after Sasha's killed. After she begins to suspect, there's a scene where she sees a light go on in our house and thinks someone's inside. So she's obviously scared. Sam can't stay, so Sam's got to be on call, so he's at the hospital. So Helen comes to stay. Julia goes to sleep. We'd afterwards find out she took sleeping tablets, which is a great reason as to why she doesn't wake up, considering the noise that's made outside the door. But Helen basically, after hearing noises, chooses to open the front door, which drove me crazy. You know, you don't open your door at 2 a.m. And the cat, Julia's cat, runs out up the stairs. So she goes to follow her. We should add that this house is not very well lived in. Basically, it's Julia in one floor and her landlady at the top floor.
But work's been done, aren't they?
The excuse seems to be a massive amount of restoration to the floors, which does work as an explanation.
Yeah, because more people, you'd be like, well, why can more people? Why is there not a bigger cast? Oh no, the house is being.
Yeah, because it's a flats almost.
Yeah.
You know, big house with lots of different flats. So obviously Helen chases after the cats. We get a bit of a lengthy cat and mouse thing where it's like, oh, she's being watched. But ultimately it's the dog that Helen comes a cropper with. That's when we get the cat strangulation flash as the cat's hanging up by its throat. And then the dog chases Helen. She gets caught on the stairway by her thing. Probably could have just ripped it off. But eventually, the dog kills her.
Yeah.
It's quite a gory scene. It goes in a little while. I think it's quite violent as well. There's a lot of blood involved. Although, her throat is surprisingly unharmed for all that blood.
Yeah.
It's that kind of effect. The next morning, Julia wakes up having slept well, talks to Sam. Sam comes over. He's going to get a nap, and then go to San Francisco because it's now their birthday. It's Julia and Mary's birthday. We constantly get a black screen flashing up saying 5 days till the birthday, 4 days, 3 days, so on.
Yeah.
And then we're on the birthday day. Helen's obviously nowhere to be seen. Presumably, Mary or our actual villain cleaned up the mess.
Yep.
A lot of hardwood floors wouldn't have been that difficult to do anyway. And so basically Julia just figures Helen went home. She slept well.
She's an adult. Yeah.
She slept well, and that's that. So Julia goes, we do get kind of do I want to say like forced emotional scenes as well before this involving Sasha at the school, where they talk to the school kids about his death and stuff like that. It's done well, but I felt it lacked impact.
I disagree. I feel like it showed how caring she was, and it kind of like it. I thought it was a really well done scene. Like say that they would be encouraged to talk to the kids about the death of the kids. The kids got quite upset about it. I thought it was quite a nice scene to kind of like progress the fact that she was a nice teacher. It
is nice. I think we could have had more.
Yeah.
More. That's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, now we get switcheroo. It's time for this switcheroo, basically. To complete, like, wait, what's going on? And basically, Father James, her uncle, he arrives at her house and he's going to be carrying a present into the basement, basically. And it's Amantha, who arrives at that point and says she'll help him. And the moment they pick up this bag, and she makes the joke, it's got a body in it. It's clearly a body bag.
Yeah.
It's clearly a body bag.
Yeah.
They put it on a table in the basement, and with no fucking around, she's just like, "Oh, it feels like it's got a body in it." And he's just like, he opens it, it's like, "Yeah, it does."
It was really funny because it went from outside of niceties and see Father James, her uncle, la 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 la, to dead body, completely shifting tone, which is really cool.
And he is so blasé about it. He is like, there's no that's the one. What makes him so great to watch. There's no no, I'm mad. It's just like, meh, yeah, it's a body. You were right. She starts freaking out, tries to escape, and basically we get a very long. I will say it's too long.
Yeah,
it's easily 5 minutes long. Chase sequence through the house. Very slow. Yeah. She runs, she hides. He's in no rush. He's just teasing her. Constantly humming songs. Away, smiling and laughing. It goes on quite a while. He's a lot of fun in it. She overdoes it.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you get mad because it's like, pick up a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
Pick up a weapon, please. But it culminates in her own flat where she locks the door, thinks she's safe, sits down in her rocking chair, and he starts to rock it behind her.
Yeah. I like that.
That part was great. Had it got to that part quicker, it would have been much better. We also see that he was the one wearing the gloves, the woolen gloves.
Yeah.
So that sort of goes, okay, so he might have been responsible for all the deaths. It starts making you go, was Mary really even involved? But then you're like, we saw Mary kill Mr. Kirawari. So obviously you're like, okay, so they're working together. How and why?
Yeah.
That's a major thing about this film. How and why. The death scene of her is not gory at all. It's done again in a similar way where there's a curtain covering it. He stabs her in the stomach. You see no blood, but you do get a wickedly done shot of the silhouette of the knife coming back out and blood dripping off it.
It was really cool.
Which I really praised and was like, that looked great. And so basically, not that day. That's the day before Julia's birthday. So the day of Julia's birthday, he goes to meet Julia. Sam, he's with Julia in the morning, has a nap, gives her a copy of his speech, which is very important. It's the reason why Sam has to come back and save Julia in the end. But it works. It's because she's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's going to do a speech at a medical conference in San Francisco. She was supposed to be going, but because of the death of Sasha, she's asked to stay by her school teacher, her headmaster, and she agrees. It's best I stay.
Yeah.
Obviously he can't stay, although he tried. He does it well as well. He's like, look, are you sure? And that kind of thing. And she's like, no, I can't go and stuff like that. It works.
Yeah.
So she's got a copy of his speech, so she can read it, basically. He heads off, gets a cab, and we do get a scene between him and Uncle James. Where Uncle James basically wants him to stay, but it's like, oh, it's a shame, kind of thing. And it's basically like, well, like, oh, it's a close call for Sam.
Yeah.
It's a close call, really. So Julia then meets Uncle James. He brings her back and says, no, we got to go through the basement, and I'm going to blindfold you because it's a wonderful surprise. What's good about this is she, as an actress, with her mouth, obviously is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, uncomfortable about the whole thing.
Yeah, she's like, okay, it's my uncle, but at the moment, she's probably like on high alert at the moment. So she's a little bit uncomfortable about things, and I think she kind of almost hears him knocking the door, but she's like, did he just lock it just because in general you didn't want people walking in off the street? Which makes sense. Like, he literally faces onto the street, the basement. Yeah,
he padlocks it.
Yeah, but she's like, did I hear the padlock rather than just a door being put to? Yeah, so she's very good at acting. Even with her eyes closed, it's kind of like uncertain. So she doesn't just run down and go, oh, birthday surprise. It's like, okay. Yeah,
and we must say again as well, actor Dennis Robertson is having a fucking blast in this role. He can barely contain himself.
Yeah.
He can barely, it's like you can see it bubbling constantly, constantly want to laugh and smile, and he's having a lot of fun with this. Easily the standout thing.
Yeah.
And he leads her to a really lovely room that he's decorated with candles and lights, and he's got cake, and it's going to be a great birthday party, and there's guests. And those guests are all the bodies. All the manky bodies that are like lying around, except Sasha, although he explains why he couldn't get the body of Sasha, which I do like, because it also implies he may have killed Sasha's mother. He says, Sasha's mother didn't want him to come out or something like that. So he sits Julia down, he reveals the entire table to her. And she obviously tries to run away, or the doors are locked. He doesn't give a shit. He isn't chasing her. He's like, hey, you ain't going anywhere. You're going to have this party. He eventually ties her up and puts her in the chair. And obviously that's when Mary reveals herself, sits down in a chair, and we basically get the explanation of why both of them are doing this. And I will say they're not good enough. They're not good enough, unfortunately. Mary's is that, whether driven mad by the disease, she wants to make Julia look like her. We'll be twins again and stuff like that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And disappointingly, Father James's reason seems to be entirely based around the fact that he is tired of people being scared of death, and he thinks it's fine and we should just embrace it, which is not good enough for the switch. Bear in mind, he is acting like a complete lunatic. And a lunatic, one of those who, I'm crazy, but I don't know I'm crazy. A crazy person, doesn't know they're crazy. It's too much of a switch for the explanation. It's not good enough, unfortunately. We wondered and we thought maybe it would come back around and it would turn out he was actually their father, because he didn't. They say at the start that he didn't know their father, but he refers to their father as being an angel, and that would mean obviously he then slept with his own sister, which would certainly explain a lot of maybe the madness that was in Mary. They missed the trick there. They missed the trick.
A lot more flashbacks and a lot more explanation to kind of make it more sinister and more the end more impactful.
Agreed. But it does detract from the overall quality of the finale, even though, as I said, Dennis Robertson is a lot of fun. In between that, Sam, on his way to the airport, the cab got a flat tyre. So the driver's trying to fix it. Sam's obviously impatient and all that. He goes to help. He puts a speech on top of the fucking car because he was reading it in the back. Again, this all works quite well. And he goes to help put the new wheel on, and wind blows the speech into puddles and stuff like that. Realising I need that speech. He's like, well, there's a second copy back at Julia's. So let's go back to Julia's. Comes back to Julia's. Basically, he doesn't find Julia inside and stuff like that, but he hears noises from the basement. He hears music, singing. So goes to investigate. In between that time, Father James has just decided to kill Mary. He just stabs her in the back. And he even says, what's the problem? What's the big deal? It's death and stuff like that. I did like that part, because again, it shows his blasé attitude towards death. He was just like, look, man, and so on. Why he keeps Julia alive for so long never really makes sense if he's just happy enough to kill Mary.
Not explained well
enough. Not well enough. Sam eventually comes down to the ground floor and runs into our Rottweiler, who I guess is Father James's Rottweiler, and not Mary's. I guess that Mary was just hiding out, killed her handyman, and everything else was Father James's doing.
Which makes that works.
I guess to a degree it does. So Sam battles the dog, hides in a room. The dog, in the most funniest scene, The dog Puppet smashes its face through the door.
Here's the Roddy.
Yeah, it's like that, but like full on. It's clearly a puppet. We laughed out loud at it. It's that funny. But he manages, while trying to hold the door closed, and the dog obviously smashing its way through, he manages to reach out, grab a drill, and drills the dog in the head. This is what we said at the start. Probably the most obvious
where it's going to be
trouble, because it is quite violent, quite gory. From the back, it's clearly an alive dog.
Yeah.
From the front, it's clearly the puppet. Yeah. Done well, looks good, but certainly a troublesome scene.
Yeah.
With that, Sam, I can't remember. Why does Father James leave her alone? He just goes off to do something. Can't remember. Father James goes off for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just to go check on something or to go get something, but he goes off.
Oh no, he puts Mary on the stairs for some reason.
Oh, that's right. Well done.
Yeah.
He decides Mary needs her nap and goes to put her to bed, but then randomly just lies her on a banister in a really awkward position for the actress.
Yeah.
Really awkward.
Yeah, because it's a fin, but obviously banister's a fin. But like, how the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. But while he's doing that, Sam is trying to free Julia and doing the ropes and that kind of thing. Father James comes back, holds the knife to Sam, and he's basically saying lots of villain stuff. Rather than kill him, he's just talking a lot.
Yeah.
That's what villains do.
Yeah.
During that time, Julia manages to get herself free, picks up a hatchet that Sam had taken and brought in with him from the tool shed where he killed a dog, and murders Father James. It's very violent. I guess this could have been another. It's a very violent. Basically, it looks like Father James, the actor Dennis Robertson, was wearing some kind of meat pack on his back.
And she just goes into it.
Because it looks like meat being shredded from the back. And it's a good, at least 10 blows to his back. It's hefty. She gets covered in blood. It's very, very violent. She's very traumatized by it. It's well done by the actress. Well done by Sam, who tries to calm her down afterwards. And it's that's basically the end of the movie. She then wanders out covered in blood to the banister where her sister's sitting. She falls off the banister, and it ends with her sitting on the steps of the stairs with her sister. Yeah. And that's Madhouse.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. This is an interesting one because it's hard not to overlook. It's easy, should I say, to overlook the overall quality of the first 2/3 of the movie for the quality of the last part of the movie. The last part of the movie is well worth watching.
Yeah.
It's fun, as we keep saying. Dennis Robertson is an absolute joy to watch. I've never seen someone have so much fun in horror in a long time. And he doesn't overact. No. This isn't like a Jim Carrey liar kind of behaviour. It just works. Yes, we needed more.
Because he's still pleasant with it.
Yeah.
So obviously as a vicar, as a priest, he's very pleasant. And as this, he's overly nice, but just nuts with it.
Yeah, it's a killer. He generally, whatever his reasons are, because we don't really have them, to be fair. Whatever his reasons are, he feels incredibly justified and normal with those reasons. That's pretty cool in itself. We just needed more. We needed so many more explanations.
And flashbacks to show the behaviour.
It was not even that. When we break down the relationships, the important relationships on this are Julia and Sam. Right, Julia and Sam, done well.
Yeah.
Done well, believable as a couple. Yeah. Good actor, good actress, very, very well done stuff. Then we've got Julia and Mary, the sisters. It's light, it's thin. We don't get enough. We don't get enough of their backstory. We never really get to truth if Julia's abuse stories are true. I wondered if it was going to be more of a April Fool's Day style thing where she's the crazy one, that kind of thing. That's obviously not the case. Obviously, it must be true then, considering. But what drove Mary this crazy? Yeah. We could have done with more brief flashbacks to her suffering abuse as a child. Yeah. You know, that would have really made a difference.
It's just left out really, just a bit sort of thin, which is annoying because the acting's really good, and some of the birthday party scene was really impactful. It's like, oh yeah, because they're wearing like party hats and he's got party streamers and it's all happy.
And the bodies look good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a shame we didn't get more meat to it to make it actually a really good film.
Then we get like the relationships between obviously Julia, Mary and Father James. I think that just about works, is it's very clear that he's been their father figure in their life since they were very, very young. Yeah. He's been the father figure as their uncle. Yeah. I think that works and explains a lot of the why touchy-feely, hugging all the time and stuff like that works. Just about. Yeah. And obviously then Julia and Sasha, I feel that was undercooked, but you didn't mind it so much. Yeah, the relationships and those backstories are the real problem. As we say, the biggest one being that we just don't. You can't have Father James just go from I'm okay to I'm secretly not okay.
Yeah.
And it's simply because I'm tired of people being scared of death.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
No.
It wasn't good enough, and his quality of the actor doesn't make up for that.
No.
It's very gory at times. I think the effects are good. The dog stuff is well done. It's shot very nicely. The biggest criticism I have is the music and the sound effects. It doesn't really have a soundtrack.
No.
It's just these obnoxious noises. You know?
Pasted in, yeah.
Yeah.
Should be better. Not more impactful. Sometimes silence is more impactful on certain parts. So yeah.
And the very lengthy chase sequence between Father James and Amantha, played by Edith Ivy, who I think overdoes it in this a little bit with the facial expressions and how she kind of behaves in it. But that chase sequence is another negative for me. I think overall, this movie is just okay.
Yeah.
Just okay, unfortunately, because of all those issues we've highlighted. The good doesn't... It on that scales of balance, it's... That shit is piling up and it's, it's going the other way, unfortunately. I do think it's worth watching, purely for the last 20 minutes to get to that point. I think it's worth watching. Yeah.
Definitely.
There you go. There's Madhouse, our latest episode of The Nasties. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?